All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I've realised I've started it off with all right again, but you're just going to have to get used to that as the first thing that I say in every single one of these podcasts. I am here today with two brilliant, wonderful guests that also. It's been a while since I've talked to one of them, and Hugh, I haven't had the pleasure of talking to you yet. So how are both of you guys?
Yeah, pretty good. Not much.
Alright.
Yeah, Tom's in coma right now, but no, I'm pretty good. Not
What are
much.
you in a coma for? What's going on?
Uh,
Just, just life, bro. Just not enough
Life
sleep.
coma. That's fair
Not
enough,
enough sleep.
actually. Yeah. What time did you get up
Yeah.
this morning?
Midday, ish.
Brilliant. What time did you go to sleep?
I think it was 4 or 5.
Yeah, that'll do it to you. So about
Yeah.
5 hours of sleep. Or no, that's total.
That's not.
That's not how
Not even
math
close.
works. That's not how math
Nope.
works. That'd be about 7
7. Let's
hours.
let's go 7.
That's see, you're getting
Should be
there.
enough.
The
Should
energy.
be
You're
enough.
getting there. But I guess unless you got one of those, like what are they called? The bracelets on that can tell you how long you've been sleeping for. You don't really know how long you were asleep.
I honestly didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it
So
is.
Yeah,
You could have not slept at all last night, even though you thought you had 7 hours.
feels like that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. The magic of sleep and all that stuff. Anyway, we may as well get into it because we've got a hell of a lot to talk about. As I said before, it's been a while since I've talked to you, Tom. Um, and a lot of things have changed. One of the big ones, obviously, is the fact that you're no longer with Genuine. Um,
Mhm.
you've been picked up by the Chiefs. Now, can you
Yes.
guys walk me through I guess the acquisition or how that sort of came about with you guys moving to the Chiefs, obviously.
I think it was
Yeah.
me, right? I think
Yeah.
I initially messaged Sangy, and then Sangy put me on to Nick Tainted Sav, and he just gave me a phone call. And yeah, because we knew through other people that their previous lineup was dead, and we were obviously looking for a place to go. So we thought I didn't think we'd be able to get him, but we just fuck it, messaged him, and then next minute we're like going through with it. So pretty happy with that, to be honest. But yeah, that's pretty much how it went down.
Mm.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't. It took a longer than I would have thought. Like we were actually talking to them like in January, I think, and then I think we only took like a whole month or over a month or something like that. But yeah,
Fair enough.
uh,
So it was a long period of time, but generally you thought they had an opening, so you gave them a message and just
yeah,
swang for the fences, I guess.
yeah, pretty much.
Shoot for the stars.
Yeah,
But obviously, yeah. So you guys are now taking that chief spot. I'd say it's a fairly big brand, or not. Maybe that's not the right word for it, but big, like in terms of legacy that they've had in Counter Strike and even in other esports in the Australian scene. They've done quite well for themselves. Definitely, like I don't know about you guys, but where would you say out of like big orgs in Australia? I'd say you've got like the Renegades, which are technically now a
they're
American
American.
org, so
That's
you
that's
wouldn't
an
even count
American
them
org, yeah.
anymore.
Uh,
So it's going to be who's the longest lasting? It's probably
Maybe
it'd be
I don't
Legacy or
know.
Chiefs, right?
Yeah, the top three are Legacy Chiefs order, I reckon. I don't think anyone.
Mind
Just
Freak's pretty big.
Oh yeah, Mind
yeah,
Freak and Rainbow. Yeah,
I think Legacy and Chiefs are probably the biggest in terms of funding because Legacy's got football club behind him,
yeah,
and Chiefs has got Icon behind them, and Chiefs are getting fucking massive sponsors
yeah,
like Marvel and stuff. So I think Chiefs and Legacy are the two biggest at the moment. But yeah,
yeah. So it's been, I would imagine, quite an exciting time to be on the team, considering you guys have come quite a long way from where you'd started. I'd say. So how long with you guys have you guys been playing with each other now?
fuck, I don't even know.
No, it was January,
Oh yeah,
maybe
it was
mid-January
mid-January, eh?
last year.
Yeah. So
with Hugh.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we picked up Hugh.
so what is it now? March. So it's been
Year and
a
2
year.
months, 3 months.
Yeah, something like that.
Fair enough. So you're one of the newer additions to the Genuine lineup then. What's the rest of the lineup time wise doing? Been together
mean,
for?
Me, Chris, and Jordan have been playing together on and off for like 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
going back to Masterminds. And then we picked up Daryl like only 2 months before Hugh, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think we picked him up in November. So uh, it's mainly like the core three of me, Chris, and Jordan that have
Yeah.
been together the longest. But it wasn't like one consistent stretch. It was, you know, split up between a few different teams because I was in. They pretty much always played together, but I was in some different teams.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's kind of like a general core. It's been about year and 3 months, year and 4 months.
Fair enough. Because obviously, I say that because a lot of people in the scene obviously bring up whenever you guys are doing well and succeeding at these sort of, top level events. You get people always talking about the length that your core's been together, and even
Yeah.
now the five, just in general, because of how crazy our scene is generally, and even lasting a year in the lineup seems like a long period of time for Australian CS teams. So, do you guys put much weight behind that advantage, you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. It means we know each other very well, and I think the main thing is just that we know how to work our problems out, and we know that egos and stuff aren't going to be an issue. No one's
Yeah.
worried about getting cut, so there's not like this element of fear, I guess, of if you fuck something up, you're getting removed. It's just work through our problems together, and yeah, that's pretty much the main advantage.
Is there much of a, do you think, an in-game impact when it comes to staying together for so long? Because you remember, like, obviously it's a
Oh, for
very
sure.
pretty high up like example, but NIP, because they were together for so long, people always used to talk about how, they'd say like one word and it meant a paragraph that somebody
Yeah.
else would have to say. So do you have anything like that where it's like you can feel a little bit more in tuned with each other?
Well, it's just like if you play a bomb site with someone on a specific map for a whole fucking year,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like your knowledge accrues over time, and like you learn together. Whereas like if it's a new player every 3 to 4 months or whatever, then you have to reset every time. You have to teach that person, or they have to learn, or you have to learn new shit again. So it's like you learn together as opposed to like having to start again, which is really good. So like for example, me and Daryl play B on Inferno, and it's a constantly changing bomb site, and like we've constantly been learning, changing, and like if I had to like play with a new player, it would just be a massive headache, to be honest,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we've just learnt so much over time, and I think that's the main advantage of it. Um, but yeah, there is something to be said though, where you can't. It's like because I see a lot of people that just say like point at us and then say, look at them. Look at the like when we get good results or whatever. They're like look if everyone stays together for this amount of time, um, then like similar results will happen. I don't think so. I think it's because you need to have certain people, specific types of people that are willing to learn. Like if you obviously got a guy in your team who's not willing to learn or something like that, then like it's obvious that he shouldn't get kicked. You shouldn't stick out someone who's like not willing to learn. So yeah, I think that's a point to be made. Like it's not like we just stuck by this rule because because like we think that would bring us success. I think it's just
Yeah.
because everyone's willing to learn. Like we just learn together and we fix our problems.
When we first picked up Daryl, it was like he was a pretty shit CGM player, and he didn't have any experience. No, I mean like
Just roast him, bro.
yeah, no, Daryl fucking sucked, right? When we picked him up, it wasn't by virtue of his skill as much as his attitude, and
Mhm.
I knew that if we're going to be putting in tons of effort, he's going to be at the forefront of that. I think there's a bit of a. Well, I mean, it's much easier to just look at a player who's really sharp and then pick them up, and then changing their entire fucking attitude is more difficult, I think, than picking up someone who has a really good attitude and then growing with them. But it's also harder, and it's more of a long-term thing. So, yeah, pretty much everyone on our team has a good attitude towards improving and figuring out mistakes and communicating and that kind of thing. Obviously, there's still issues, but in comparison to teams I've been in the past, it's much better. And that's why we've been able to stay together for so long, because everyone's not, an idiot and can figure out mistakes together and work through problems rather than just fucking storming off and, talk behind each other's backs and all that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Fair enough. So it's more of a personality thing than with you guys, where you seem to have just found the right people that can stay together for such a long period of time. So just on that then, when you were looking around for lineups with that, or you could probably go all the way back to when it was just you by yourself, Tom, or just take it to that core three. When you're looking at people to add to the lineup, when you look at like people like you and like Daryl, what, like you said, it was about the personality. Were you specifically looking for a certain kind of personality? Was that the main sort of draw that you were going for?
Yeah, absolutely. I prioritize attitude over a lot of other things when it comes
100%.
to a team environment. Like when you start playing with someone 5 hours a night, 5 days a week, and then you have to deal with some bullshit.
Yeah.
You very quickly you get over it, and so picking people who know how to function in a social environment is pretty ideal. So
I don't know. I can tell instantly if someone's like not willing, or like he's got an ego and is not willing to learn.
It's pretty easy.
Like it's pretty easy to pick. Like you've played like fucking 4 scrims with someone, and or at least I can pick up whether like they'll be a good teammate in the long run or not. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's just me or if everyone can do that, but it's pretty. Yeah, people just have like. It's pretty easy to tell if they have a learning attitude. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the reason why other teams haven't been so successful in this is because they don't prioritize that aspect of the game as much as you guys do, or do you put any weight to the idea that it is really difficult to do what you guys have done and to find the correct people?
I mean, when you're having bad results, the first instinct is to find a better player, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we definitely could have done that at points throughout this last year. So it's not particularly easy. I think. I mean, yeah, it's like I said before, it's easier to find just a really sharp player and pick them up, and rather than go through with them. But that's not to say that other teams are ignoring that aspect of it. I don't really know what the inner workings of like Order and fucking, I don't know, what's the other team, Avant, are, and what goes on in there. But I think we kind of just got lucky with the people we picked up, because I mean, we didn't trial for that long for either of them.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say you just picked me up.
Yeah,
off
like
my legacy, right?
It wasn't like it was like a painstaking process. It was just we did get lucky, but yeah, and that we've been able to sort things out. And yeah, I don't know. I'm fucking what I'm saying now. You.
I get the point.
Leave you out to dry.
So I wanted to talk then about like another aspect of being together for so long, and I think maybe some people might just assume things like, or maybe they would be interested in knowing how you guys keep it sort of maybe like tactically fresh is the correct word for it, or just like you were talking about playing B bomb site with Daryl, and how you can, get in. You've been playing with him for so long now that it just becomes easy. But is there ever times when it's like, you kind of get stuck in the mud doing the same thing over and over again? Or what kind of process do you guys have when it comes to, I guess, relearning or redoing certain maps to sort of, change up the way you play?
Yeah, 100%. It's a process. It's like when issues come up, like it's a constant evolving process of solving issues. Like if we're always winning, then like there wouldn't be any need for us to change. But
Mm.
like there's because all of us are willing to learn. Like just if a problem comes up, we try and solve it. We try and watch demos. We try and figure out what the best thing to do in the situations are. Like yeah, it's to keep to keep shit fresh. It's more like it's not like we make a playbook and then stick with that for 4 months and then make a whole new playbook. It's more just of a constantly evolving sort of thing.
Yeah. We've been
that
we literally change our fucking half-house stats like every month. I swear, like we because a lot of our shit is just fundamentally flawed, and as we get better, we realize we need to fix things, and then like even we're playing completely different than we were, 3 months ago or whatever. Like it's every day there's like a new thing we're adding or fixing. There's always shit that needs updating or improving. There's still tons of like fundamentals that we lack. Like we lose a fucking ton of man advantage situations, which is and
it's a running joke now that whenever in men whenever in men advantage, like Tom just gets anxious. He's like, guys, don't throw this.
Like fucking, we're like
he starts shaking.
5v2, and I'm like, boys, don't lose. Come on.
It's more likely you're gonna lose that than if it were 5v5.
Genuinely, that's a fucking problem, dude. So that's
our current issue.
Do you think that comes down? What do you think are the main sort of issues when it comes to things like that? Then is that just an over confidence, over peaking kind of thing going on, or
yeah? Sometimes
and panicking as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's different factors, but yeah, sometimes. Yeah, most of the time it's over peaking and stuff, I think.
Yeah, because I remember the old I think they were with Kaboom at the time, but the old SK lineup. That was before they became like one of the best teams in the world. They were really good at Inferno on B site, or at least actually, it might have just been on most maps. But I just remember the Inferno B site. They were really, really good at playing. As soon as they got a mana advantage, they would play really well around not over peaking and watching crossfires. And it seemed like every time they would get a man ahead, they would convert that into a win. It was just getting the man ahead. Yeah.
That's not us.
Fair enough.
Yeah, well, something we're working on right now.
Yeah.
Tom, as a in-game leader then, or somebody who is, leading the game in a tactical sense, what do you look at the players you're playing with right now, and are you quite confident in having them as, what's the word for it? Just like very set pieces, as in what this person is capable of, and if you have a strategy that you want to run, you can go, okay, I know exactly where each player has to be. Or do you think that at this point you're still sort of trying to find out where each player's confidence is?
I know what everyone's good at and what they're bad at, and so when I make strats, I build it around that a lot of the time. So like some people are better at, answering, for example. Some people are better at throwing the util. Some people absolutely suck at throwing util. I'm not going to name names.
Who could that be? Yeah.
I think Chad had to go at you for that, didn't he?
What?
Birchill.
That wasn't us.
Was that not like you guys? I just remember seeing that on Twitter and be like, what is going on?
No, we watched that. No, that wasn't us.
That was Airborne, I think.
I think so.
No, but I know what everyone's capable of, so it's easier to build strats in that sense.
Yeah, everyone's got pretty set roles at this point.
Yeah.
Like everyone, it's all pretty set.
How important would you, or actually maybe not frame it that way, but as an in-game leader, do you think that helps quite a lot once you finally kind of understand where your players need to be and what pieces they need to be, or where you need to place them, what their strengths and weaknesses are? Does that sort of Does that make a lot of your job easier, or is it not something that you would put a lot of priority on? Let's say if you're put into a different team now, how much time would you spend on getting to learn weaknesses and strengths of each player?
It's kind of something you pick up through playing with them. It's not. It's
I
difficult
think it
to
takes a
focus
while.
on. Yeah, it's difficult to focus on it, like specifically picking up what their strengths and weaknesses are. I mean,
Mhm.
it really helps in that we like ideally people are playing roles they're comfortable in, and like Jordan being a naturally aggressive player is the entry. Um, Chris is more passive, so he's more of a trading player. Like trying to play around that and make sure everyone's being utilized effectively is really good. But yeah, it's like you just pick them up through time playing together, and I guess that's one of the advantages of playing together so
You
long.
change roles over time. So, like the roles that we have now, don't think we didn't start with these, but like
No,
you realize like who's better at what over time, basically.
yeah.
Like for example, I was a rotator in CT at the start of this team, and now I'm more of an anchor, and Daryl's more of a rotator.
Chris was lurking to side. Now it's
Yeah, it's
really
completely.
working.
So yeah, it comes back to that thing where you just slowly improve stuff over time. You change stuff, see what works, and it's just a constantly evolving process.
Fair enough. So for you then, Hugh,
Yeah.
if you're, if the team decides to switch up a site and you're going to play, let's just make it really basic and let's say rather than playing B on Inferno, you're going to play A now for whatever reason, right? How long would you need before you'd feel comfortable playing on that site, do you think?
I don't know. It's a hard question. On Inferno specifically, I
Or
think
let's
A.
say, let's reframe it and maybe I'm attacking the wrong point there, but in a sense of, let's say you're playing a site with different players. How long does it
Yeah.
sort of take you to get into the rhythm of those players?
Um, I don't know. Not long because we've played together for so long that I've played with many different people and many
Mm-hmm.
different bomb sites. So I don't think it would take that long. But I think it's more of like the minutia of a site, like that you pick up over time. That really takes ages, like to like accrue the knowledge. Like I could play Dig on Inferno now, and like I'd be able to shoot people, and I'd be able to get into a setup that we make or whatever, just fine. But it's more like the micro details of like what to do versus like this sort of playstyle or something like that that accrue over time that I wouldn't have instantly. That would take a while. I don't know how long it would take, but yeah, it takes a while to pick up that stuff.
Fair enough. This is going to be a bit of an, I guess, a abrupt turn, but I wanted to ask you guys what you think is the worst map in the map pool right now.
Overpass shit map. Anyone
Okay.
who plays it is an idiot.
Okay.
And you here?
I don't know.
No, it's
I
overpass here. Shut the fuck up.
no, we just suck at overpass.
Tyrannical.
The map is fundamentally bad
And
No, the
why would
map's
you say
good.
that? Why would you say that? What's your...
because I hate it.
Okay. Is there any more elaboration or just you don't like
No.
that map?
It's just terrible.
Okay.
I
Fair
I
enough.
think the worst is probably Dust 2, in my opinion. It's just so boring.
Agreed.
Like like we can play it, and I don't mind playing it. It's just like I don't know. It's just boring. It's like
Hmm.
they need to spice it up. Like they need to do some shit. Like add some shit to it to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Like they need maybe like open like all these. Or I don't know if you see like Sponge's recommendations on how to change the map. But that would be cool. Like the reverse doors on B, like so you can see into sight like through the doors, like making
Yeah.
retaking B. Because like the fact that as soon as a T gets a fucking B, it's just like impossible to retake is bullshit. And then like getting gapped on the cross is also bullshit. There's not much options to do in short. Like, like there could be more stuff there. So I don't know. I just hate that.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. It's just boring.
I
I don't know. There's
I
not much
agree.
complexity to it.
I just think I've just seen it, but it might be purely because I've seen it so many times.
The meta's just for it's just been so similar for
Yeah.
so long. Whereas like a map like Overpass,
At least it's different.
because of the complexity out of it, I feel like it changes a lot more than the meta of Dust 2.
Here's a good question for you then, Tom. If you had to play 1,000 games straight of Dust 2 or Overpass, which one do you pick?
Dust 2.
You'd pick.
I don't
You'd
think
pick
you
1,000
understand
maps
the
of Dust 2.
burning fucking hatred I have for Overpass.
Jesus. But at least it's big.
Yeah, that's
What
the
about
problem.
what
You
about in a
ever
like
tried falling on Overpass?
It's true. It's true.
Just every one of your teammates getting picked off randomly.
Yeah.
It's the worst experience ever.
Yeah. I guess, man. I guess it's. I don't know. I just like the size of it. To be honest, I just really like Con.
I like smaller maps.
Fair enough.
Always
Fair
have
enough.
bro. Nuketown best man.
Let's go on to Dust 2 then, because I think I sort of touched on this, I think, in the last two podcasts as well, but I'll say it again. Recently, we've seen, I think it's been Renegades and 100 Thieves as well, where, but I probably would prefer focusing on Renegades because I think it works a little bit more in context with the Australian scene because of the placement that they are in. But they tend to pick Dust 2 against higher up teams like EG or G2 or, just list any top tier team in the scene, right? Whenever they go up against them, they'll pick Dust 2 and that will be their first map. Now, I want to get your opinion on this, but I'll state mine just in case you haven't heard it. But I just don't like having that map as your main pick against whoever you go up against. Because, especially against a top tier team, because I feel like it's so hit and miss, it's all on aim, and if you fuck that up, then you've got to go into their map pick in a game you've just lost, and as much as that momentum may not carry forward, I personally think it does a little bit, especially if you're getting destroyed, or even if it's a really close map, that can fuck with your brain, or your mentality when you come into the next one. I just dislike the scrimminess of having that as your first map pick. But what would you guys... Do you guys have any opinions on this specific issue or topic?
It's difficult to know without knowing what their scrims have gone like. But I mean, I'd say the problem with picking Dust 2 is it's an auto lose against Navi, G2, Mouse, some other teams I can't remember, but like that just destroy everyone on that map. But I mean, if they're not having any success in scrims on other maps, or like that's the map they feel most comfortable on, I think prioritizing the map you feel most comfortable on is probably best, even as a confidence thing. So it's really difficult to like make to have an informed opinion about it without knowing what their scrims and experience overseas has actually gone like.
Well, we'll probably get into this a little bit later on, but I'll just pose the question now, and then we'll add context to it later on. So I'm just going to skip ahead a bit here, but forgive me, and we'll just go to the question. But obviously the Asia Minor's coming up soon, and you guys will be playing in that. Now let's go into a hypothetical world, right, where let's say you qualify for that. You go through the minor and you make it through that, and now you're at the major, right? So you're going to go through that first process there. So if you're put up against a team who's in that top tier of the world, right? Who's a good example? Let's go MIBR. That's a fairly sort of middle ground team at the moment, but they're still a top tier team, right? Against them, what kind of map pool would you be aiming for? I know this is a really hard hypothetical question, and maybe I'm pushing a little bit too far, but I'm interested to think, or at least, discuss what your sort of plans would be around that.
I think playing, it's like when you're the underdog, I think it's better to play what you're comfortable on rather than picking into the opponent's weakness. I think it's better to pick into opponent's weakness when you're the clear better team. So I think I don't know, it's an age-old debate whether you pick the opponent's weakness or whatever you're most comfortable on. I personally feel if I was going to like a big event, I'd want to play on the most comfortable map. that that we can pick, like that, rather than trying to pick something that into their weakness, because for all we know, their weakness could be like still like 2 times better than us. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so I think just picking your strongest when you're the underdog is better 90% of the time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree pretty much. I think, yeah, you just gotta go with a confidence pick. Just
Yeah.
play to your strengths, and they probably wouldn't know as much about you as you would
Yeah.
about them as well. I mean, people know how how Fair plays or Fallen plays, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of data on how they play, whereas they wouldn't know too much about us. I think confidence pick is better.
So, in picking a map, then, all right. Again, just hypothetical, but let's say we're in the situation where you've got to pick. Is it? I think it's still BO1s in the major, the original stage. So let's just go with the BO1. You were saying you go for a sort of strong pick that you're comfortable on. Let's say, does that come down to more of a complex map, such as, okay, you're obviously not going to pick Overpass, but Overpass, Train, even Vertigo is quite complex nowadays. Do you go for something like a little difficult like that, or do you go for maybe like a Mirage or an Inferno?
I think it's just we pick whatever we're comfortable on.
On
to be
the
honest.
day. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever you're feeling.
Like I don't think we.
Best going into the event probably.
And do you do a lot of research then, going into that with like okay, we might play this map, or this map. Do you think there would be any like period of time where you'd go and look at demos from them and try to counter strat, or is it just going to be we're going to play our game and try and learn as much as we can from it?
I think you wouldn't fully counter strat, like you wouldn't fucking spend all your time looking at what they do, but like getting an idea of how they play, their defaults, their some of their little quirks, just gimmicky shit you can do to get rounds. You'd absolutely look at that. But mainly just having a game plan going in that will work against what they're doing.
Fair enough.
Using strats you're comfortable with. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, we will get back to the minor because I kind of want to finish on that. But I think obviously literally the next game you'll be playing is, let's see, it's about an hour and 16 minutes away.
Yeah.
And that is the best of 3 that you'll be playing against a football club.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to pronounce that, which is.
Don't. Yeah, you should definitely.
Yeah.
You should definitely Google that.
Yeah, just in case I'm not going to.
They've searched off as well.
But I'm gonna go with football club. So you're playing a football club. Now, if any of you guys are watching from that football club, I apologise. The only name I do recognise is Iron. So I'm sorry. Obviously, no offence. I'm sure if you beat these guys here, suddenly you might be on this podcast as well. So maybe you can talk all the shit you want. But you're coming up against these guys in a BO3, and I guess I just wanted to ask, what's the feelings going into it right now?
Well, we should win.
Okay.
If we yeah, I mean, I'd like to go DM so we don't lose. But that's about it. I don't know. It's not really a massive thing that we're focusing on right now. It's just another game. We're more focusing on the minor in the weekend.
Right. So
it's pretty much, it's one of those games where it's like, they don't have that many strats and they're just going to try and aim at you. And so it's like, try not to get caught off by aim and pushes and, don't be idiots.
Play good fundamentals and don't lose man advantages, basically.
Yeah, so basically we're going to lose.
Every 2v5 we'll lose, yeah.
Oh, God.
Sterling will 1v4 us and then Blitz will 1v3 us with a spray down.
Yeah.
Yay.
Fun times. Well, so basically it's going to be I guess, more of a laid back tournament, just purely because the minor's around the corner, and it's probably not a great idea to, invest too much into this one. However, the winner of this does get a qualification for a DreamHack tournament.
Yeah.
Which one is it again? Where's the DreamHack?
I don't think it's been announced.
Okay.
I think it literally just said DreamHack Open.
DreamHack
I
Open.
may be wrong, but
Yeah, I can't
that's
remember.
And there is
That's
two. There's two chances for that. Is that right, or is this the only one?
I
I think it's just the winner of the LAN finals, right?
Okay.
have no
That's
idea.
what I thought. I thought it was just the winner of the LAN finals.
Okay.
Um,
I'll
I
take
have
your
no
word for it.
intention
and
of going on.
and Renegades isn't in it, so another international opportunity for the rest of Australia.
Sounds good.
Basically any tournament they don't play.
So that's really the main reason then to sort of play the tournament, I guess, to get the opportunity to go international.
Yeah.
It is double a limb, so you're going to have 2 lives. But let's go hypothetical. Once again, we're doing a lot of hypotheticals here. You're going to get past the football club, and then you're going to have to play Avant or Paradox. Who do you guys think is going to meet you there?
Avant.
Yeah,
It'll be
probably.
Avant, yeah.
I think
So
that's
if it's Paradox, that'd be funny.
All right.
But
like, yeah, I think Avant.
And then Order Ground Zero.
Or should be Order. I mean, although
who knows actually from
yeah,
The
but
Skyfire
that's-
game
didn't have a great showing last night. So
that kind of thing happens. I mean,
yeah, Order's on paper is better, I think.
I
Mhm.
think it's like 65-35 to Order.
Yeah.
I'd put that. I mean,
think
not
so.
to like discount Ground Zero. Like they're good. They're a good team. It's just if Order are on, they're very difficult to play against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I'll ask this question as well. Obviously, with the most recent changes and the pretty much eradication of the old Chiefs lineup, we're now left with 3 rather than the usual 4. Because I think probably near the end, I would assume most people would have considered you guys in that top 4 if we... I guess you get rid of Renegades, but even then, you could have definitely been in top 4 there because Avant kind of fell off near the end without that. So right now, considering the sort of current situation and what's going on in our scene, where do you have the rankings for the Australian teams right now?
So obviously Renegades. And
Yep.
then a lot of it comes down to on the day.
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, I think I think a lot of people rate it as like Order, us, and then Avant, or at least I saw there was some ranking for that. But I think
I'm back.
right.
Sorry, his camera will be back in a bit.
Yeah, for me personally, I think we have a lot more work to do before we can consider ourselves better than either of those two. That's my opinion. I think I'd put it as Order and Avant, and then us,
Mm-hmm.
because we're inconsistent, and I just think we have a lot to fix.
Yeah.
But there's definitely the potential there to be better than both. And then after that, I'd say Ground Zero. And then from there, it's too difficult to know because a lot of it is just upsets and stuff.
Yeah.
And I haven't really followed what's been happening.
It gets freaky
So-
down there.
Yeah. But I think like Order's obviously still getting used to gyro calling, and I
Mhm.
think they're going to be better with him calling. And Avant is still, improving with blitz calling. And they're really good. I mean, they 16-1 to Order, which was impressive. They've had a really good streak in MDL after that first loss. And they're obviously all very talented players with a lot of, like, they've got 4 players with tons of experience now, pretty much.
Mhm.
And I mean, both those teams, experience-wise, just have it way over us. So, yeah, I still rate them as better than us, at least for the time being. That would be my answer. I don't know what Hugh thinks.
What is the question? Just ranking
Yeah.
names? I don't know. I don't think I agree with that. I think it's Renegades and then Avant, us, and Order, anyone can beat anyone on any day. Like, it just depends who like plays shows up on the day. I think.
Yeah.
I literally think it's like one, like Renegade's ranked 1, and then 2, 2, 2. Like
Fair enough.
that's how I feel at least.
Yeah.
But
It's a bit of a. I think I'd agree with you on that. I do think it's a bit of a. It's still kind of trying to figure itself out as to where we're going to put everyone. And then obviously, well, I imagine a lot of people will make their minds up over the weekend, considering the
Yes.
results and obviously this tournament as well. So, in terms of the ESL championships, what kind of scoreline or what kind of result would you be happy with or expecting for this lineup? For this tournament.
I don't know what the format is. It's some format so it can get on HLTV. But I don't know. We just want to win every game so we get to LAN finals as soon as possible, and then obviously we want to win LAN finals so we can go to DreamHack Open.
Yeah.
I think that's our goal. I don't think we'd really have like an ideal score. It's more just try and win every game that we can.
Fair enough. So it's basically you're going for the win here at this tournament. You want to get that DreamHack Open qual, and then let's say just push it even further than that. The DreamHack Open qual. Obviously, you have absolutely no idea what teams are invited to that, but going into that tournament, what kind of results would you be expecting when you attend a DreamHack Open like that?
It's really difficult to know without all teams are attending it. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't know.
I literally don't even know what the fuck the teams would be.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, any international experience
yeah.
is what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And I mean, when we went to Malaysia, we didn't do as well as we hoped, and we arguably should have gotten to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't fuck up some crucial stuff and make some massive errors, but you know, at an event like that, we're looking to win. But with DreamHack Open, if there's top 10 teams attending or whatever it is, I don't think you can realistically look at it and be like, yeah, okay, we're gonna win.
Fair enough.
So it's just about getting that experience and seeing how we actually stack up against these teams, because that's the part that we just don't actually know. We've never.
Yeah, see what the feeling is, because on LAN it's completely different. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like even just getting the experience, like realizing, like when we went over to Shanghai, for example, like even though we didn't have for Extremes LAN, even though we didn't have that greater results, like versing the teams, like you get the feeling of like what it's like to verse other teams, and like it's not like the fear isn't there. Like the more you do it, I don't know if fear is the right word. The anxiousness, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, because like when we versed Tyloo, like they're sharp, and like they're very sharp. But to be honest, it didn't. Like once we versed them, it didn't feel like we were playing anyone special. It just felt like we were versing another Australian team. To be honest, that were like sharp, like Order or something. But yeah. So it's just about getting that experience, so we know what it's like to verse other people, and then once we know, like once we get rid of all the jitters and stuff, then we can actually see how good of a team we are.
Yeah. By the way, talking about those jitters, obviously you've had that little bit of international experience over in Malaysia. But for you guys, when you were out there, did it take you very long to get over the jitters? Was it a couple of maps, or did it get more pronounced the further you went into the tournament? What was the kind of feelings going in through that?
I think with Malaysia, the main thing we learnt was to pick into our comfortable maps, because like it's shit like this that like lost, like, so when our first game we picked Mirage because we're picking the weakness of the person we were versing as opposed to picking our strength, and we lost that because of that. And then if we'd won that, we most likely would have been in the grand final. So it's like shit like that, you just, like, the mistakes that you make, like, you learn from, and the more international experience you get, like the less mistakes like that happen. And
Fair enough.
I don't think Malaysia was really jitters. but I think that, like there's
It
some
was just, yeah.
key takeaways from it.
Yeah,
Something
also,
like-
Do you
But-
do you ever find yourself getting any jitters at all when you come into tournaments like the CSL championships or even the minor coming up? Do you expect there to be any little shakes, even if it's only for a couple of rounds, or are you guys at the point now where you're quite comfortable just moving into these tournaments?
I got jitters if we're losing,
Right.
pretty much. Like,
Okay.
like, especially if we're losing against an underdog, right? Like, if we start losing against this team tonight, I'll probably start getting, like, shaky. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be losing this, But I mean, against most teams, not really. It's just kind of like, just playing.
Fair enough.
Done it so many times now.
Yeah, it's something you learn to care about, but I think it would obviously be different if we were on a stage or something, like on a big stage, for example, but because that's just something we haven't done before. But if the experience is pretty much the same, then no, there's nothing really different besides just playing
Fair
a
enough.
different team.
Because I know some people have like breathing exercises that they do to try and chill themselves out. So I was wondering, I was hoping one of you would say, "Oh, I do star jumps before every game. That way I can regulate
Just go
my."
back and watch every 5v2 we've lost.
Brilliant. Motivate
Remind
yourself.
myself. Yeah, exactly.
The rage. Let the
Doesn't
rage
work.
out. And then do you have a knife and an apple and you just sort of chop the apple and start
I've got a
eating it with the
punching bag.
knife? Oh,
I got a
brilliant.
punching bag.
That's even
I just
better.
go outside and fucking lay into it and let my rage out on it after we lose something
Yeah.
that we should.
Start talking about
Yeah.
how you need a bigger boat and stuff, just the usual Jaws references.
Right, right.
Yeah. Anyway, oh,
Would you
Jesus
tell me if I
Christ.
said I haven't seen Jaws?
Well,
That's a rough one, I'll be honest with you, man.
So-
You didn't have to watch it in school?
No?
Never?
No.
I remember watching it
Jesus.
at a swimming carnival.
That's
Yeah,
pretty- that's cool.
Wow. Well, that's
That's cool.
appropriate.
Yeah, I thought it was
Well-
good. It's good timing to watch it, really.
Really,
Yeah.
like, inspiring kids to swim right there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Just jump in the water, kids. You'll be fine.
I remember I had a very similar situation. Now, this is going to sound like super privileged, but in my school, we had a class called outdoor education, right? Which was bullshit, essentially. It was a free class that you could take, and you got a certificate for it, and you got like first aid certificate and stuff. So some of it was useful, but most of it was just BS. We'd go out and learn how to fucking kayak or, row. One of the times we went out and we were snorkeling, right? This was a real thing that I had to do in school.
What school did you go to?
I know, it's crazy, but this is why I chose it. So one of the lessons we would go, I think it lasted we went 4 weeks in a row where we'd go once a week down to the beach and we'd snorkel in like the coral area or whatever. And I remember while we were on the bus, we would just watch all shark movie like deaths. So you remember that
That's
scene
great.
with Samuel L. Jackson where he's like doing a speech. I can't remember what the movie's called, but he's doing a speech and there's a woman there, and then like halfway through the speech, a big shark comes out and just eats the woman.
Okay,
No idea.
I don't
You'd never-
remember this.
Yeah,
No idea.
there's
I
that
was
one.
thinking snakes on a plane until you talked about sharks.
No, it's definitely all sharks. And then there
Okay.
was there's obviously the scene from Jaws where the dude gets eaten on the boat, and we just watch all of those before we went snorkeling, just for fun.
Just to make sure you're properly fucking terrified before you get in the water.
Yeah, well, I remember that we had a guy that was in that class that had gone and psyched himself out by watching these videos, which is probably our fault, but you got to take it, bro. Come on.
Oh, what a pussy.
Exactly. So he went in and like literally every shadow, he was like, it's a shark. And obviously it wasn't. It was just a rock. So fun times for that guy. Enjoyable
It just seems like
experience.
one of the obvious things to not do when you're about to go snorkeling is
Yeah.
watching people get brutally fucking mauled by sharks.
Yeah.
I agree, but it's like watching scary movies before you go to bed, or you go in a haunted house or whatever and watch scary movies. I'm pretty sure that's how you die by whatever
It's
ghost
meant
it
to
is that's
enhance
in
the
there.
experience, Tom. You're
Yeah.
you're really meant
my
to
bad,
fear
my
for your
bad.
life when you're
Yeah.
snorkeling.
When you try
Really
to
get the
pleasant
adrenaline
outing.
rushing.
Yeah. My bad, dude. My bad.
Yeah.
Fuck.
If your heartbeat isn't going at some ridiculous
I
speed, then
guess I haven't
what are you
been
doing?
snorkeling correctly.
You see a shadow for like a second, you're like, "Fuck, I'm gonna die," and then that's how you get your blood pumping.
Or stingrays.
Extreme sport. Yeah.
Oh, don't bring stingrays.
Stingrays are
Come on, mate.
they're
Come
the
on.
underdog. Stingrays are the underdog, mate, because you don't think about it, and then you see one, and you get flashbacks of Steve Irwin, and you just start going shit. So,
Yeah. I've only seen like one.
one
And just
stingray.
get
Oh,
the
lucky
fuck
you.
out of there.
I don't
Yeah.
go outside, so
Yeah, it's for
Sweet.
losers. It's for losers, dude. Don't worry about it. Well, after that very long segue, we'll probably finish it up because I did say I'd throw it back. Asia Minor is the big one. It's this weekend. Your first match will be on Saturday. Yes,
Yeah.
it'll be on Saturday.
At like midday.
Yep, midday, and it'll be against Rooster.
Oh, will it? What?
Yep.
is it best of 3 first?
Yeah, it's a
Best of-
BO3, and your first game is against Rooster, which
Oh.
is Chelios, which will be fun. Juice is
These are the
Medic
sort of
and
teams
G.
we lose to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're a very puggy team, so there's going to be a lot of aim involved, and one of you is going to have to get some crazy AWP flick in order for you to win it. So I'd be practicing the AWP flicks.
Don't look at me.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna need. Someone's gonna need to get a highlight in order to take that one. But obviously, then let's go through the group. Ideally, because I'm not going to be able to give you plausible lower brackets. So let's go through the world where you win every game. If you do beat Chiefs and Rooster, you're probably going to have to play Order right after that because they're going up against Skyfire. Which, actually, to be fair, they almost lost to, so who knows? Maybe they'll get in their own head about that one, and it might give you an advantage.
that'll be a grudge match. Good one to watch.
Yeah, it would be. It'll be interesting to see whether or not they can really put on the gas this time and not allow it to happen again, or if Skyfire can, show up again. It'll be interesting. So, Chiefs, you're going to have to play Order or Skyfire. I imagine it'll probably be Order.
Probably.
Are you feeling confident to make the full run through the upper bracket?
Depends if we show up on the day, I reckon.
There you go.
I think like that's been a pretty consistent thing for us. Is sometimes we have good runs if everyone's in form, like against what was the call? The fucking
Cato.
Cato call? Yeah, Cato call where we beat Guyana and shit. Like we were just all
Yeah.
hitting shots, playing well, but then
I think we bring the energy for quals, so
Yeah.
I think we'll do well.
Yeah, and historically, Order have not. So there's obviously
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
They
They always fail at the final.
Yeah,
Battle.
they struggle with that one. It is a kind of new lineup, so there's a possibility that mentality's gone.
Yeah, very
but,
different lineup. So
it's literally just Alia now, right? Out of the old original.
yeah. I
At
think
Valiance
so.
as well was kind of a part of the struggle for the last one, I think. Was he? Oh man, am I losing my
I don't
mind?
know.
I don't think he was actually, was he? Who knows? Well, whatever. You get the point. They've had a historical, results. where they've failed.
I guess it's not fair to draw that comparison.
So we'll see.
But yeah,
Then obviously you're going to have to go up against Renegades in the final, most likely, unless they lose to either Catman or Avant. Avant probably more likely, because Avant are going against Ground Zero again. It's pretty crazy how that's almost the exact same bracket as the bloody ESL Champs one. So that's interesting.
I didn't even know the bracket was out. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, now you
To
get
be honest, this is good information.
Well, I'll give you the rundown. Renegades versus Catman. Who is on Catman? Do I know anyone? Panic's on
Panic.
Catman. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Avant versus Ground Zero. Chiefs versus Rooster, and then Order versus Skyfire.
There's two spots there, so you don't have to beat Renegades.
Yeah, you don't have to. You do, however, have to beat Avant or Order, most likely to make it through. So it'll be interesting. One more thing. Are you guys at the moment looking at all at trying to bring on a coach, or are you not at a stage right now where you feel you need one?
Well, we
yeah,
were.
Or am I leaking?
I'll let you answer.
Okay, thanks, man.
Take the floor.
No, we did have Bryce for a bit, but he's decided to go to Airborne.
He betrayed us.
Yeah, fuck baby, garbage person. Anyway, and yeah, so at the moment we don't have a coach, but we're kind of looking, kind of not. I think we know what we need to do to improve. And we're just kind of
Not
The
lost
sixth
at the
person would
moment.
be helpful.
a sixth person would be helpful. Like, not to say we're not fucking open to it, but at this current moment, I'm not actively looking for anyone because I'm just focusing on all the quals and shit we've got coming up.
Yeah.
So after that, probably get back to looking around, see if anyone fits our team
Fair enough.
and what we want them to do.
Yep, esports football manager, in other words, after the quals.
Pretty much.
Be fun
Someone
times.
to fucking feed us at
Yeah.
boot camp.
Maybe you can find some Spanish guy who's just out there with a legendary record. Who knows? Anyway, I will end it now because you've only got 53 minutes before the game's going to start. So I should let you go and let you DM or whatever it is that you need to do. Go to the toilet, get a drink of water. But I wish you the best of luck, guys.
Thank you very much, man.
I'm sure that you'll, perform hopefully and won't lose too many man advantage situations.
We will.
We can pray. I'll cross my fingers for you, boys, and
Don't you fucking worry.
we'll hope for
Just
the
watch
best.
the game, and anytime we get man advantage, just fucking
I'll sit there.
expect us to lose. It's
Okay.
great.
Well,
Take a shot if we actually win.
wow.
It won't be drunk.
Yeah, listen, this video is definitely not going to go out in an hour, so when this video does come out, we'll all know what has happened, and we can look back at it and laugh. So that'll be fun.
Just They just 1v5 us.
Yeah.
Just
I wouldn't be
insert the clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insert the clip in. In fact, I will. We'll think about it. I'll think about whether or not I'll insert clip of said clutch right here, and then we'll see what happens. All right. Anyway, that's been it from me, folks. And I'll see you next time whenever we get another one of these going. See you later, boys. Thanks for coming.
Thanks,
Cheers.
mate. Have a good one.